Use me, I don't mind. Put yourself first, Zara. Be selfish.
AJ, who is this girl?
This is Zara. She is pregnant and I am responsible.
The day Zara lost her mother, her life changed forever. At just 8 years old, she watched helplessly as a relentless cancer claimed the woman who had been her world, her protector, her confidant, her guiding light. Zara's home became a cold, foreign place in her absence, stripped of warmth and love. Her father Musa remarried soon after, bringing Azizat, his secretary, into their lives. Along with Azizat came Aisa, her spoiled and spiteful 8-year-old daughter. Azizat was a far cry from the loving mother Zara had lost. She was cold, distant and calculating, systematically chipping away at Zara's self-esteem, aided and abetted by her daughter Aisa, who seemed to delight in making Zara's life a living nightmare. With each moment of their wickedness and her father's cold ignorance, Zara found herself retreating into herself, seeking solace in books and the quiet corners of her room. She had longed for the loving guidance of a mother, but it had never come from her stepmother. As the years went by, Zara blossomed into a breathtakingly beautiful teenager, her radiance drawing admiration from everyone except Azizat. Instead of motherly pride, Azizat's jealousy grew into a consuming hatred. Determined to keep Zara's beauty hidden, she imposed strict rules. The girl was forbidden to leave the house without a hijab, even at school. This made Zara an easy target for ridicule, with Aisa and her clique leading the charge, taunting her relentlessly. At home, the torment was worse. Azizat subjected Zara to humiliating virginity tests every 3 months, each result confirming her innocence, much to Azizat's frustration. But then, one fateful day, the results came back different, and everything changed. On that unfortunate day, Zara fainted at school and was rushed to the hospital, where tests revealed the shocking news of her pregnancy. She had no way to defend herself against the damaging pregnancy result. Worse of the situation was her inability to identify the father of her child. But how could she? Zara had no answers, no explanations for the bewildering situation that had unraveled around her, slipping beyond her grasp and understanding. She'd never even been alone with a boy, let alone spoken to one long enough to contract the so-called scandalous flu of pregnancy that Azizat had warned her about. Her protests, her tears, her desperate pleas, all of them had fallen on deaf ears. The weight of injustice pressed down on her chest, suffocating and unrelenting. Her stepmother, with a cunning smile and cruel satisfaction, finally had Zara exactly where she wanted her, cornered, powerless, and without an escape. "Don't come back until you've found the man who got you pregnant," her father commanded, his voice cold and unyielding, delivering the verdict without a trace of doubt or compassion. Immediately, Azizat and her daughter leapt at the chance, their glee barely contained as they worked to rid themselves of Zara once and for all. They tossed her belongings haphazardly into the street, the door slamming shut in Zara's tear-stained face. As Zara knelt, trembling, gathering her scattered possessions from the ground, the door creaked open once more. Above her, cruel laughter erupted, sharp and mocking. Aisa, standing tall in the doorway, her eyes gleaming with malice, wasted no time.
"The Virgin Mary is pregnant,"
she bellowed, drawing the attention of curious onlookers.
"Now the whole world will see your holiness for what it really is, a lie."
Whispers rippled through the gathering crowd, turning Zara's private despair into a public spectacle. The people of Simpson Street watched her, their faces a mosaic of pity, scorn, and curiosity. Over the murmurs, one voice rose sharply above the rest. "Shameless," a woman muttered with a shake of her head. "These young girls never learn." Zara's cheeks burned with humiliation, her heart pounding as she stood exposed under the cold, judgmental gaze of the neighbors. Tears blurred her vision as she stumbled forward, her steps unsteady, her path uncertain. She had no idea where to go or who to turn to. Her stepmother had carefully orchestrated her isolation, ensuring she had no friends, no allies, only them.
How can I be pregnant?
She wondered, the weight of her family's rejection hanging over her like a suffocating dark cloud. The relentless nausea that had plagued her for days surged through her once more, and her legs wobbled beneath her, threatening to buckle. She stumbled over a loose cobblestone, teetering dangerously, but before she could crash to the ground, a strong hand shot out, catching her just in time. She looked up, startled, her breath hitching in her throat. Standing before her was none other than Aminu Jr., AJ as everyone called him. His presence was always magnetic, commanding the air around him with effortless confidence. AJ exuded a natural charisma that made him the undisputed king of Flow High School, admired by many and envied by the rest. Hailing from the powerful Abubakar family, whose oil empire was as renowned as their staggering fortune, AJ's lineage was the stuff of legend. Whispers swirled about their opulent mansion, with tales of a mythical money tree that never stopped bearing money fruit. Yet, it wasn't just their immense wealth that commanded respect. Their unparalleled influence, effortless elegance, and unwavering poise cemented their place at the pinnacle of society. Aminu Jr., named after his father, Alhaji Aminu Abubakar, wasn't just revered by everyone because of his family's fortune. He earned his throne through sheer brilliance and character. Teachers praised his humility, his sharp intellect, and his name perpetually topping the honor roll, while his peers were drawn to his magnetic charm. But to Zara, what truly set him apart, what made him unforgettable, was his heart. AJ's kindness wasn't loud or ostentatious. It was quiet and genuine, like a flame that warmed all who stood close enough. Until this moment, Zara had only been a distant admirer of that flame. She'd seen it in the way he helped underclassmen find their footing, the stories of grateful students that floated through the halls, how AJ, noticing their struggle, had paid for their fees or textbooks without seeking credit, how he'd volunteered at orphanages on weekends when no one was watching.
What's wrong, Zara?
AJ asked, his voice soft and laced with concern as he uttered her name for the first time. Zara didn't realize when the tears began to fall, her voice quivering as she spoke.
They kicked me out. They say I'm pregnant, Aminu. I don't even know how it happened. But no one believes me.
AJ's brow furrowed, his eyes searching hers as if trying to unravel the truth hidden beneath her words. After a tense moment, he gently replied,
I believe you. Come with me. Leave everything to me. My family will help you.
AJ drove Zara to his home, a magnificent, opulent mansion nestled within the exclusive Simpson estate. The estate felt like its own world, a stark contrast to her modest, middle-class neighborhood on Simpson Street, which seemed to shrink in comparison. A quiet echo attempting to reflect the grandeur of its namesake. The mansion was nothing short of breathtaking, with towering gates, lush manicured gardens, and a facade that gleamed in the soft evening glow. It radiated wealth and power, and as they drew closer, Zara was filled with a mixture of awe and trepidation, overwhelmed by the sheer splendor of the place. But when the butler greeted them with a warm smile and ushered them inside, Zara felt an unexpected sense of comfort amid the opulence, as though the mansion itself was extending a quiet welcome. But her fear quickly returned when his father, Aminu Sr., or AS as his wife fondly called him, glanced up and asked,
AJ, who is this girl?
His voice was commanding yet not unkind, carrying an underlying authority that immediately put Zara on edge. AJ, standing firmly and protectively beside Zara, faced his family with unwavering resolve. His voice was unstable but filled with a quiet determination as he declared,
This is Zara. She is pregnant and I am responsible.
A stunned silence enveloped the room, the weight of AJ's words hanging in the air. Even Zara was taken aback by his bold declaration. Before she could respond, AJ gently squeezed her hand, silently urging her to go along with him. AS's face darkened with anger, his authoritative presence dominating the room. Zara's heart raced, fearing that AJ might face the same harsh treatment she had endured from her own family. She was on the verge of confessing that AJ was only trying to help her, when a soft, steady voice broke through the tension. It was a woman, graceful, poised, and radiating calm.
AS,
She said gently, her gaze compassionate.
please let's not be hasty in our judgment. AJ is our son, and while he may have stumbled, it's our duty to guide and support him and her, so that no further harm is done. This is a moment for understanding, not condemnation.
Her words tempered Aminu Sr.'s fury, though his voice remained firm as he turned to her.
You spoiled the boy, Habibi.
He said with a mix of exasperation and reluctant admiration. Then, shifting his gaze back to AJ and Zara, his stern expression softened a little.
If what you say is true,
He said, his tone measured but weighty.
then we will do what is right. But I trust you both understand the gravity of your actions.
Alhaji Abubakar was a man of principle, deeply rooted in tradition and guided by an unwavering moral compass. To him, the Abubakar name was more than just wealth. It was a symbol of honor and respectability. In his world, an Abubakar child could never be born out of wedlock. Yet now, he found himself grappling with this belief, torn between his values and the reality before him. He knew AJ and Zara were far too young to wed, and the weight of this dilemma pressed heavily on his conscience. However, the next day, the entire Abubakar family made their way to Zara's home. Their arrival sent ripples of shock and curiosity through the neighborhood. Inside the modest house, Azizat and her daughter struggled to mask their pain and envy when the purpose of the visit became clear. An introduction, followed by a formal marriage ceremony after Zara and AJ completed their final exams. Zara's father, cold and calculating as ever, saw the situation as a golden opportunity. Restless with ambition, he viewed the connection to the powerful Abubakar family as a chance to elevate his status. He pushed aggressively for an immediate marriage and demanded an exorbitant dowry, cloaking his greed with feigned paternal concern. When Alhaji Abubakar hesitated, Musa made thinly veiled threats of arranging an abortion if they did not comply. Alhaji Abubakar and his wife Habibi exchanged a solemn glance, their hearts burdened by the knowledge that Zara was far safer under their care than in the clutches of her family that viewed her as little more than a pawn. After extensive deliberation, and for the sake of Zara and their unborn grandchild, the Abubakars reluctantly acceded to Musa's demands. The decision, though necessary, was made with profound heaviness. The marriage came quickly. The ceremony rushed and was held in Musa's sitting room. Zara, clad in a simple white dress, looked fragile and distant. Her heart was heavy with pain and guilt. This was not the turn she had expected her life to take. The news of their marriage had come as a shock to she and AJ. A solution imposed upon them, leaving little time to grasp its gravity. Yet, amidst the whirlwind of uncertainty, AJ remained steadfast by her side, a pillar of unwavering strength. He could have walked away, she wouldn't have blamed him if he had, but he chose to stay.
We will do this because you need to escape your family.
he had said, his gaze unwavering.
You stand a better chance with us. Use me, I don't mind. Put yourself first, Zara. Be selfish.
His words ignited a spark of courage within her. For once in her life, Zara chose to be selfish, even though the guilt gnawed at her and kept her awake the entire night before her wedding. And just like that, Zara and AJ were bound together by something stronger than they realized. Life with the Abubakars was a world apart from Zara's own, a stark contrast in every sense. Where her family's house was filled with tension and rejection, the Abubakars' mansion radiated warmth, love, and an air of effortless peace. Their lives were shaped by influence and privilege, yet simple. A life Zara had never known, and one that felt both foreign and alluring. Habibi, whom Zara had initially thought was Aminu's mother because of the deep bond they shared, turned out to be his stepmother. Yet unlike Azizat, Habibi was loving, gentle, and compassionate. She welcomed Zara with open arms, seeing her not as a burden but as her daughter, someone deserving of love. AJ's father, though stern, was caring, nothing like her own father. He reassured Zara time and again that she was now part of their family and that they would support her through everything. However, he was clear about setting boundaries.
You will sleep in separate rooms until you are of age and show that you are fully capable of taking responsibility for your actions.
He told them on their first day together as a married couple. AJ and Zara had no objections to AS's rules. Though their arrangement was unconventional, AJ embraced the role of a responsible husband with natural ease, never once wavering in his care for Zara. He was always by her side during her morning sickness, ensuring she ate well, rested, and lacked for nothing. One evening, as they strolled together, Zara voiced her worries about the mystery behind her pregnancy. AJ, with a reassuring smile, looked at her and said,
This child is ours.
Returning to school as a married couple felt like stepping into uncharted territory. Nothing like this had ever happened before. Whispers trailed Zara wherever she went, some laced with curiosity and kindness, others sharp with malice. She had gone from being the quiet hijab-wearing outsider to becoming the most talked-about girl in school, her name on everyone's lips. Under the nurturing care of Habibi, whom she now affectionately called Mother, Zara began to embrace a new sense of style that reflected her age and elevated status. Gone were the oversized jilbab and uniforms that hid her. Instead, her clothes were now perfectly tailored, flattering her figure while maintaining the modesty she valued. Despite the awkwardness of their situation, the couple stood by each other. The bond that had begun as friendship deepened and solidified under the weight of the challenges they faced together. AJ treated Zara with such care and respect that it touched the heart of anyone who observed them. His devotion was so genuine that it left many of the girls at school longing for a taste of such adoration. They sat together, studied together, shared meals, and supported one another through the toughest days at school. Although the young couple were unaware of the growing feelings between them, others could see the love that was blossoming. It was evident in the small gestures, the way they supported and cared for each other, and the quiet moments they shared. To those around them, their bond was unmistakable, a love growing stronger every new day. Isa noticed this too, and it only fueled her jealousy. She longed to be in Zara's place. Consumed by envy over the connection Zara shared with Aminu, she plotted ways to humiliate Zara, determined to make her life unbearable. But no matter what schemes she devised, Aminu's presence, his unwavering support and name, shielded Zara. One afternoon during lunch break, Zara sat alone, unaware that Isa had spotted her without Aminu by her side. With a smug smile, Isa approached, her followers in tow, eager for drama.
Can you believe her?
Isa sneered loud enough for everyone to hear.
Married, pregnant, and still acting like she's better than the rest of us. Just like her dead, haggard witch of a mother.
Normally, Zara would have ignored Isa's cruel taunts. But this time, the insult to her beloved mother cut deeper than any she had ever faced. Her back straightened, her head high, just as Habibi had taught her, an inner strength rising. With quiet resolve, she stood and walked toward Isa, every step measured and steady. Right there in the school cafeteria, Zara stood tall and without hesitation delivered a resounding slap to Isa's cheek, the sharp sound echoing throughout the hallway.
Do not ever speak about my mother.
She said, her voice low and unwavering. Her expression hardened as she continued,
I've tolerated your humiliation for far too long, and it ends today. Try this again, and you'll witness firsthand who Zara Abubakar truly is.
Isa stood frozen, her face a mix of shock and anger, but Zara didn't give her the satisfaction of another glance. She turned, walking with a newfound confidence toward AJ, who stood nearby, his eyes filled with pride at the strength she had shown. Just a few steps from him, Zara's body betrayed her, and she suddenly collapsed. Before she could hit the ground, Aminu was at her side, catching her in his arms.
Zara,
He cried as he cradled her fragile form. She was rushed to the Abubakar family's private hospital, where a series of tests uncovered a startling revelation.
wait, you mean she's not?
Aminu stammered, his voice barely a whisper. The doctor nodded, her expression somber. It's not a pregnancy, Aminu. It's a tumor, germinoma. It mimics pregnancy symptoms, hormonal fluctuations, swelling and unusual protein production. Everything you've seen, all the signs, it's been the tumor all along, not pregnancy. Zara, still weak but conscious, squeezed Aminu's hand, her voice trembling with fear.
A pregnancy was better than this. Am I dying?
A tear slipped down her cheek, followed by more, each one falling uncontrollably as the weight of the doctor's words sank in. The doctor's gaze softened, but her words were blunt. It's advanced. At this stage, I'm not sure how much surgery can help. I advise you to brace yourselves for the worst. AJ and Zara's world seemed to collapse at this news. A pregnancy had been easier to bear than the reality of a tumor. But thankfully, the adults in the room provided a sense of comfort and reassurance.
Nothing will happen to you, my daughter.
Habibi promised, her voice firm with motherly love. Zara's family, upon hearing of her condition, rushed to the hospital with their condolences. But AS, reaching his limit with their manipulation and deceit, refused to allow them near Zara, unable to tolerate the thought of them inflicting any more harm on her, especially in her fragile state. Over time, he had come to care for her deeply and wanted to protect her at all costs. One day, when Musa dared to corner Habibi in a moment of desperation, she met his gaze with unflinching resolve.
You are not worthy to be called a father.
She said with quiet fury, her tone laced with finality. With a piercing glare, she warned him never to show his face again, leaving no room for doubt about what she'd do if he did. AJ's family, through their network, located a renowned specialist abroad with the highest success rate in treating germinoma. Without hesitation, they covered all expenses, ensuring that Zara was promptly scheduled for surgery. Uncertain of what the future holds, Zara penned a letter to her father.
Dear Baba,
She wrote,
I forgive you for everything, but I can no longer return to the life I once knew. I wish you peace, but this is where our paths diverge.
Zara traveled with Habibi and AJ, who had remained steadfast in his determination to be by her side.
Wherever my wife goes, I go.
He had affirmed, locking eyes with his father in a moment of quiet, unwavering defiance. The strength of their bond was unmistakable. And in this time of uncertainty, no one, least of all AS, who had once loved and lost AJ's biological mother, could deny them the solace of being together. The surgical process was far from easy, but at every stage, Aminu was there, holding her hand and making the sterile, intimidating walls of the hospital feel like an amusement park.
Thank you, Aminu.
She whispered to him the evening before her surgery, her voice soft but overflowing with gratitude.
For giving me the happiness I never thought I'd have.
Despite their fears, the surgery was a resounding success, leaving the doctors astonished by Zara's swift and remarkable recovery. It wasn't long before she was cleared and discharged, her health restored. When they returned home, AS hosted an extravagant private celebration in her honor, not only to commemorate her recovery, but also to mark her 18th birthday, which coincided perfectly with her return. For the first time in her life, Zara felt deeply loved and cherished, surrounded by family who loved her tremendously. That night, after the party, as AJ and Zara sat together in her room, in a tearful, emotionally charged moment, Zara gathered her strength, her voice trembling as she made the painful decision to release Aminu from their marriage.
I love you, Aminu,
she said, her voice cracking.
but I'm letting you go because I don't want you to feel tied to me. I've lived in perpetual guilt, letting you do all you've done for me. We've both been through so much, and we need to find our paths. If we're meant to be, then fate will bring us back together.
AJ's heart shattered into a million pieces at her words, and his first instinct was to reject her decision. But, wise beyond his years, he knew that sometimes love meant letting go.
We are meant to be, but so you never doubt it, I'll let you go for now.
He whispered, his voice hoarse with emotion. The next morning, Zara and Aminu revealed the truth to their family. Although their parents did not fully support their decision, they offered unwavering support for their future. With AS's assistance, Zara relocated abroad to continue her education. Years later, Zara had blossomed into a woman of strength and grace, building a successful career in law. Her heart had healed, and she had become her own woman, independent and accomplished. Yet, despite her achievements, the memories of AJ haunted her more with each passing day. She felt selfish for longing for something she had let go of, but deep down, she regretted her decision to set him free. A lingering fear gnawed at her.
What if he has moved on, found someone better, someone more deserving than I could ever be?
One dreamy evening, as Zara wandered through the bustling streets of the city, the sound of a familiar voice pierced through the ambient noise, calling her name.
Zara?
She turned, her heart skipping a beat as she saw AJ standing before her. Older, but still unmistakably him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The years seemed to vanish in an instant, leaving only the unbroken bond they had once shared, and still shared. Without hesitation, she closed the distance between them and enveloped him in a tight embrace.
I never thought I'd see you again.
Zara whispered, her voice thick with emotion. AJ held her just as firmly, his voice soft but steady.
I knew it.
He said, his words laced with conviction. I prayed for it, wished for this day every single moment.
I'm never letting you go.
She vowed softly.
Forever.
AJ affirmed, pressing a gentle kiss to her lips. As they strolled through the streets hand in hand, Zara felt a lightness she hadn't experienced in years. She glanced at Aminu, curiosity flickering in her eyes.
I've always wanted to ask you.
She began, her tone both teasing and sincere.
What on earth possessed you to make such a crazy declaration when you claimed my supposed pregnancy?
Aminu chuckled softly, his eyes warm as he brought her hand to his lips, pressing a gentle kiss against her fingers.
Let's just say,
he began with a playful grin.
I couldn't stand seeing tears in the eyes of the hijabi princess I'd been hopelessly crushing on from the very first moment I saw her.